What are those called?
All right, this is System.Debug. Tonight we are talking about more programmer pet peeves. Thanks for tuning in. Here we go.
It's kind of like McDonald's.
RJ told me not to do that this time.
Dude, because you look like a fool.
So I did it this time.
You made me look like a fool last time.
I like it, Brian. It's okay.
Did you know that there's actually like a world championship for
air guitars?
Guitars?
Yeah.
That was
I knew that.
absolutely awesome to watch. RJ turned me onto it this evening.
I don't know if I wouldn't say I turned you onto it.
I stumbled across it one day while falling down a YouTube hole. Yeah.
It'll get you there, man.
The
YouTube
clickbait.
will get you there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, those stupid clickbait.
All right, so tonight, this night, we're here with Alex Corbin. Alex Corbin is one of our Node.js developers here at Map Anything. He's very talented, and he also is
You
very.
like to lie through your teeth.
Don't you do Node.js?
Yeah.
Okay, well
That's
then
the
it's
very
not a
talented
lie.
part.
Oh, fair enough.
He
All
might
right.
be talented. He might not be.
Kicking the
We
minds.
don't know yet. I don't think.
We're gonna find out on
Yeah.
this episode of System.
Brian
here.
Hubbard will tell you.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just get the need to do's out of the way. For those of you who don't know, Chicago World Tour happening June 15th. That's going to be next week.
How
So,
are you using your words? You almost lost it. You're like,
and then you messed me up. Anyway, June 15th, make sure you're there. As most world tours are, my guess is it's probably free registration. So just get PTO from your boss or tell them it's for training. It's a good thing to do. It's
hop in there, get stuff done.
It's work related. So show
Work
up.
related,
be there.
networking related.
Oh, absolutely. It's for
Some
the
contacts.
it's for the betterment of your company's future. After that, a couple of weeks from now, Trailhead X, June 28th through 29th. Those of you who registered before June 1st got 2 free certification passes, which is pretty neat. As well as there was something else that I was going to mention. Oh, yes,
Why did you write it down?
because I didn't write it down. But nonetheless,
Clearly.
if you have a developer user group in your area, make sure to be paying attention to their feeds. A lot of the developer user groups and other user groups are going to be having live stream events for the Salesforce Trailhead X, and Salesforce will probably be sending out some swag and stuff like that for that. So if you want to get some cool swag, you want to network, you want to be a part of the live stream and see some of the keynote stuff, follow your developer feeds and meetup feeds so that you can find out when those are going to happen.
Yep.
If you're in Atlanta, that definitely will happen. We will keep you posted as to when it's going to happen. So if you're going to Trailhead X, can't wait to see you there. Make sure you come stay high. I'll have some System.Debug stickers with me, and I'll be handing them out.
Did you say come stay high?
That's what I
Well, it will be
I
San
said
Francisco.
I said
I know what he meant to say.
Come stay high in San Francisco. Or stay high.
I'm sorry, Brian. That's what I heard too. But I just didn't feel like punishing you, like RJ.
I see.
That's what I'm here for.
I see a gift coming.
yeah.
Come stay high in San Francisco.
Oh, and there went my career.
You think?
Well, it
they
was
can
down
put
by the
you on a
Warfield
billboard?
last time.
Oh,
So
they can put you on a
Yep.
billboard.
It's down by the Warfield this time. Actually, it's going to be at Moss County, but the party, as they're advertising it, is going to be over
On
at
a
the
yacht.
Warfield. No,
Not
not
on
at
a
the
yacht
Warfield.
this
Not
time.
on a yacht. Not on a
On a
yacht.
boat.
yeah.
Dude, those boats were magical.
Oh, in 15,
In 2015, yeah.
Dreamforce 15, yeah.
The boats. Now we have boats. Now
Midwest
there's no
Dreamin',
room.
August 10th and 11th in Chicago. Witness
There you
Success will be right after that. I'm going to try my best to make it out to Midwest Dreamin'. Let me know if you're going. Maybe we can
Of course.
share a room or something, because I might need to get a hotel with somebody.
Random people.
Don't
Hey,
know-
random people on the
I
internet.
might need a room.
One of our
Message me,
7 people who watches
System.Debug.
us.
Yeah.
Hit a room with BJ.
Following that's Witness Success on the 11th and 12th, so it'll be the following weekend.
Yeah.
Also, Dreamforce 2017 developer call for presentations is open. So if you want to possibly have a session at Dreamforce 2017, wouldn't it be Dreamforce? I guess it would be 17. I don't know why I was
It's
thinking.
2017. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
DF17.
DF17, call for speakers. So go to Dreamforce, look it up, Google it, go to their website, and sign up for a session if you've got an idea. Get it out there soon so that they can start vetting it now.
Yep.
Yep. That's a fun process to go through. It's always like you won the lottery when you get that back, because you go through phases. You're like, yes, it got accepted. Then you're like, oh crap, I actually have to speak in front of people now. Just not
Now,
generally
how does that
something I'm
normally
excited.
happen? Do they send you like a slide deck and everything?
They send you like a theme, like
Gotcha.
you have to use their templates and stuff like that. Yeah, and then so then you write it, and then you sit with somebody who will watch you present and give you tips, and kind of give you like a go no go kind of thing on it, and then you might have to sit with them again to show you stuff to show them stuff you've corrected, and then it's on, man. I was actually more scared to sit for my preview than I was to actually speak, because my person was Mary Scotton, who I admire so much,
Absolutely.
and she's just so awesome. And I was like, oh, this is Mary, and she's gonna be watching me, and yeah. So, but it was good.
Doesn't like it. I'm gonna take it.
I will cry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cry about it
I will cry.
afterwards.
So yeah, no, it's a pretty cool experience. And then you finally get up there, and the day comes, and nothing works like you wanted it to. But hey, you go out there and you do it anyway. So
Yeah, I believe Chris Whitehead was saying the same thing. Everything was fine until he got on stage.
yeah,
What
you
was it like
suddenly
when I-
forget how to use like Alt Tab and things like that. And then when you do use Alt Tab, it opens up on the wrong screen, and you're like, that's not where I wanted it. Yeah, that's fun.
I can tell
That's my
like,
shakiest part.
I can picture myself being in the preview and somebody saying, "So if this happens live, what would you do?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And they'd say, "Well, what would you do on your show if that happened live?" And I'd say, "Probably just look at RJ."
Yeah. It's usually what you do when you're like, I
don't
said
know.
a dumb thing.
It's like, is it okay? Justify it. Justify it.
I think when
Make
you
fun of
say
it.
something and you're worried about it, you're just worried that RJ is going to pick up on it and then take it and run with it. Is what it is.
I mean, that's
I try not to.
that's
try
true. I
my
can't
best
I can't
to
deny
not
that.
do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So earlier in the day, we tweeted out asking for anybody out there in the Twitterverses who might have some pet peeves for us.
Are there multiple Twitterverses? Twitterverse?
I would think so. I was going to make a comment and then I realized I didn't want to. But nonetheless, there is a Twitterverse out there where somebody isn't tweeting.
I'm sure there is. But luckily we had some folks tweet. I'm trying to go through them right now, so pardon me while I find some of these ones
That's
that were
what I'm doing
hashtagged.
right now, too.
Oh, at Fish of Prey today was just nailing it. I was so glad that he was interacting. Thank you so much. If you're watching or watching in the future, thank you so much for participating in the tweets today.
Yeah, Daniel Ballinger,
More
he
than it was when
he was worried that he was going to come across grumpy, and I'm like, have you met me? Really?
met any of us.
Yeah. So no, this is good. So like one that he threw out there is when you have a Boolean and you're comparing it. So if you're doing an if statement and you want to say if something is true, do something else. And he's throwing out there like, okay, if is complete equals true. And he says it's already a Boolean. Why compare it to another Boolean?
Now, see, this was interesting because as soon as we'd gotten that tweet, I actually walked into RJ's office and showed it to him, right? And he looked right at me and he goes, "That's debatable," you know. And it was funny because a couple of I don't know, maybe like an hour later, so somebody else had mentioned it could be a 1 or a 0, and that was the exact same response that RJ had given.
Yeah.
Now, why is
I mean, the problem that we've had here is basically when you're doing some this is JavaScript completely. It's not. Actually, I can't think of any other languages. It might.
Salesforce will allow nulls.
Well, I was
Exactly.
going to say yes. So there are some caveats. Yeah, you're right. So Salesforce will allow nulls, right? JavaScript, however, I can make that Boolean anything I want at any point in my code. You know what I'm saying? So I can mutate that thing into a string or
You can
whatever.
you can mutate your variable, so it's not a Boolean.
So I can
whatever you want.
I can go crazy with it. So that's another thing. And so basically here when we're doing JavaScript, right? One of our coworkers was like, "Yeah, I'll just throw this in there," and they're like, "Oh, if something," and it was just the Boolean variable, right? So, okay, cool, that runs through, right? Now all of a sudden, somewhere that gets mutated to a 0, it still goes through. Yeah, it still pops them into the if, or if it was a not, it still pops them in there because it basically reads it as the same. So it's like, oh, crud. Now I really have to be very, 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 very specific on what I need here. If something does not, and then you do like essentially the full, the triple equals or the
triple equals,
triple not equals, true or false, whichever way you're going about it. that's when you have to be really, really, really specific, because at some point that thing turned into a 0 for whatever reason, or it turned into an integer for whatever reason. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember one time we were looping through and I was like, yo, like that's gonna go into the wrong thing, because somewhere along the line you change this thing into a date or an int or a double or a float.
So let me ask Alex something. Do you feel that if you were programming, if you were going to go into it, okay, do you feel like that you would rather check for the actual true statement in your if statement, right? Or do you think it's better to make sure that you've handled that ahead of time so that the variable is always getting passed, therefore making it moot?
So ideally, you wouldn't have to deal with it. But again, speaking to your different languages, you can and can't get away with that. But the example you guys showed me earlier, it was an object property as well. So if you were doing something like a function declaration, like if you wanted is empty or something, for some reason your core language didn't have that already.
Yeah.
And you were writing out this little function, make it a Boolean return only, save yourself that trouble. Then you just, is complete. But you got to do what you got to do to get around the strangeness of the languages.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes the other problem is sometimes people will overwrite your variables, even though they probably should. Not probably. They should definitely check the JavaScript file first before they start going crazy, and they should definitely check for like global vars in Salesforce. 1,000,000%.
Oh,
1,000,000%. But sometimes,
I was going to say,
you
my
know
pet
who I'm
peeve
talking
is
about.
based off of this.
You know who I'm talking about, but they will just zoom in there and be like, "Oh, this is," and they just throw like random generic names like whatever.
My
Boolean
list.
thing, or my Boolean. Yeah. And you're like, what the heck?
No, actually, I actually got talked to the other day about my naming conventions because I feel like it made too much sense. It was too descriptive. It was too long of a variable name because it was specific. And I understand that can be a pet peeve of some people's, is the too specific of a variable. But the ones I don't like, the one that drives me crazy, and it's so funny because I hadn't thought of this previously, but the last week with something I'm dealing with, var ID.
Oh.
Turns out it's an account ID.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you made it global?
Oh God.
That happens. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you guys are arguing more for functional programming at this point.
Oh yeah,
not letting mutability be an issue, but
yeah. That's kind of leads into things that I talk about a lot. Is like I like explicit variable names, man. If I am new, I'm coming from the consulting world, so if I'm coming into your org and I know nothing of it, I don't know what some generic term you came up with means, right? But if you are a little more descriptive about, account to update ID or something like that, then I know, oh, you're updating this somewhere.
No, I agree. Or
right, yeah,
shape layer ID.
Yeah,
something descriptive when I'm looking at it.
Okay,
absolutely.
I agree, but don't just add superfluous nonsense to it, like or.
Oh yeah. Stay away from
There's a great
pronoun.
talk. I wish I could remember who it was, but it a great talk. Just look at the words that convey the meaning and try to simplify it to what is the smallest form that will convey
exactly what I want.
Exactly what you want. Don't
out of it. Yeah.
Like object is useless, but dog might be too broad. Maybe you need Shih Tzu or German Shepherd. I don't know.
That makes me wonder, like, have you ever come across codes like, this is the account ID that will be updated on line 267?
Yes.
This
and you're like, okay,
that will be updated on line 268.
Yeah, that's too much. I would have to agree there.
Account ID that populates account ID from account ID.
This is the house that Jack built. No, I totally agree with that. We have another one being put in, and this is really more strictly against Salesforce, I think, but in the YouTube chat, where they're talking about when somebody needs to deploy something and they don't have enough test coverage to go ahead and put that I++ in there like 3,000 times to get code coverage. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
That's just bad. Don't do that.
No, haven't seen that.
Nobody's seen it. Oh, no.
This is.
Tell me you're not. Tell me you're not.
This is
I would never do this.
Oh
this is,
no!
I think, very, very, very
Common.
common.
Very
in
common.
Salesforce.
I completely agree. This is an absolutely horrible approach.
It's a bad idea, but
Okay.
it's
We will fix it later, I promise.
Yeah, famous last
Oh,
words.
I'm
later
gonna.
never comes.
I may have to get up and walk away. I just told this person. Yeah, that's bad. Don't do that.
It
no,
is bad.
no,
You shouldn't do
no.
it. You absolutely should not do it.
No.
It is. You are defeating the whole point of test coverage. If you
I just
need to get-
don't do that.
Yeah, but I just need it in production. Okay.
There goes my.
I know it works.
There goes my MVP status right out the window.
Trust me, it works.
It is. It's certainly super common,
Yeah,
but super bad practice.
absolutely horrible.
On
Yeah.
that note, doing test coverage that just calls the code and then asserts true equally bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is
At that point,
pretty
don't
bad.
waste your time in just I++. Like if that's all you're gonna do.
Yeah, you might as well do that if your unit
Test
tests aren't going to
methods.
test anything,
Yeah.
and they're just yeah. That's not good either.
Yeah, here's the thing though. When somebody else comes in to, like, let's say you're a very small ISV and you're doing this, great. That's not going to help you, but it's probably not going to hinder you at that point. But let's just say all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm going to hire some new people on. That's going to break them immediately because they're going to be like, well, where's all this stuff? Oh, you're doing the stupid I++ thing. Okay, well, this is ridiculous. Why would I ever work with this person? Number one. So they may leave you. Number two, imagine now that keeps happening and you keep getting more of these people, and more people, and you get a sales team, and then all of a sudden somebody wants to acquire you, and then they're like, hey, I wonder, is all this covered? You're like, yeah, it's covered. And then they have someone come in and review your code, and guess what? You're not going to get that acquisition. It's just not.
Also, doesn't
Yeah.
Salesforce do
Yeah.
audit reviews?
Yeah,
Yes.
and they do
And get
security
on you for it?
reviews.
Yeah.
and all
I'm
that
saying
kind of stuff.
barring all that,
Yeah.
which would definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah. I mean,
And there are different types of security reviews too. So depending on the type of clients or contracts that you're trying to get,
yeah, if you're going FedRAMP, you're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, your security is
Shut down.
absolutely crucial.
You will
They will
not-
get on you for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where like we had to completely change a lot of stuff.
Isn't that console? So I've played around. I see this console log error that pops up. This cross-site reflecting thing doesn't work right or something like that.
That's
Isn't
something.
that some weird security feature? That's what I got told. I was wondering if it.
Are you talking about the logo thing?
Oh no, the logo thing is
I don't know if it's logo or something. I'm checking stuff in the console.
Supposedly it's like an anti-malware thing. I
Yeah,
have
like
no
if
idea
you
how
have a
that would work.
malware, the image will show up. Like
Yeah,
it'll get
so-
registered or something, and then Salesforce will cut you out of your instance until like it's detected the malware gone or something. Do you know what we're talking about, Ryan?
No, this is new to me.
Open up your console.
Just open up your console real
yeah,
quick.
and,
Like-
and load
Oh,
it with
Hey,
Salesforce.
you
and
mean
it
that when you
shows
get
up
that
every
404 not found,
Yeah.
like in the dev console? Okay.
Yeah, logo 180.ping. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess I've never really like worried about it, but so you're
Well,
saying because I never
was
knew that.
debugging, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting an error. Well, there's some sort of issue, so I went to go find out about it, and I'm like, no, it needs to be there. I'm like, okay.
Not gonna lie,
It's a weird
like
way
my
of-
first week here, I did the exact same thing. I was like super Salesforce noob at the time. I was like, "What is this? Hey Ben, we got this error over here. I really need to fix these." Like, oh,
No, you don't have to. No.
Yeah, somebody had asked me
Just-
that like when they'd started here too. I want to say it was like Teddy or something like that, and then I was just like,
probably. Nope, don't worry about it.
if you see it, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, I guess for me, I noticed that it was a PNG and I got a 404, and I'm like, I don't see anything goofy on the page. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I just ignore it every time. I
What's
did not know
frustrating
that
for us-
that was for.
Is that like Salesforce all of a
Supposedly.
sudden reserved the variable map,
Oh,
and that broke a bunch of stuff for us for a while.
it wasn't Salesforce. It was Chrome 56. I think was the version. Chrome 53, maybe.
Oh, okay. So it was
Oh.
Chrome that was doing it.
Yeah.
Couldn't use the
yeah.
variable map without throwing an error.
That's gonna be hard for a mapping company.
You know?
Especially when we use Google Maps and all of Google Maps stuff is bar
Map
map,
dot.
equals
Yeah.
blah 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 map dot blah blah blah. Yeah, and that's how they do it in the code examples. So of course
Copy
everybody
paste.
copy paste. Yeah.
Yeah.
They realized very 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 quickly though, however, that everyone in the entire world uses the map variable, and they ripped it out of the very next version.
Yeah.
Here's a good one from Daniel while we're moving forward with some of these.
Get back on topic.
Yeah. Any try catch where the exception is ignored and no record, or at the very least, debug log is kept that it occurred. I agree. And once again, I will admit that I'm definitely at fault for this, though most of the time, minimum, I'll do a console.log error. Like if I'm in JavaScript and I'm doing a try catch, I'll try to at least log whatever the argument is, as long and it's the same within Apex. I'm always at least trying to debug the error, but there are times when I just kind of leave it out because I'm like, one, this is not going to fail. I'm just putting this here.
Famous last words.
Yeah. This is never going to fail.
You guys just don't write code like I write code. What can I say?
Brian writes magic code. No, I would agree that I actually inherited a trigger from a firm, and I spent hours trying to track down why something wasn't happening, and it was because it was failing, and in the try catch they had nothing going on. In the catch, it was like catch exception E, nothing. I didn't get a debug log or anything. I'm digging through and I'm like, oh, there's no catch here. Let me just try. And I put something in there and just to like console it out. And then sure enough, it's blowing up. I'm like, son of a biscuit. Yeah. So yeah. And that wasted a few hours.
Yeah.
I was mad.
That's why I always feel the best route is to self-reference your method in your catch. That way if it fails, it just tries again.
Yeah,
it's the American
standard. That's a good way to do it.
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Try again. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Try. You have to give it to him, man. That little bugger didn't give up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He crashed your limits, but
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. At some level, you're gonna hit like heap or something.
Yeah, I think at some point you would get the because they also do the time, right? The basically like CPU time, and like this process ran too long, you're gonna blow up. But yeah,
I've never had that.
Oh, I think I can't remember. Is that a flow thing? Maybe, I don't know. I am almost positive like I've gotten through where it's like, yeah, this is taking up too much time. It's not that you hit too many SQL queries or anything. It's just it's doing something dumb like looping over a for loop that's looping over a for loop that's looping over a for loop, etc. over millions of records and stuff. So
Master P14 has another one, pet peeve, not utilizing custom settings to allow for the ability to disable triggers on a production environment.
That's very helpful. I do this a lot.
Wait, what?
So
you got to disable the triggers on your production environment. It's a custom set. He's saying you want custom settings to do that.
So if you write your triggers such that you can turn your
check
triggers on and off via a custom setting, it helps. Because like, there are times where you need to import a whole bunch of stuff and you don't want any of those triggers to run. You can just go turn that off. And it allows you to do it by profile, user, anything like that. Yeah. That's probably
it's collapsing. He's like, no.
That's probably my favorite Salesforce hack is being able to turn that stuff, because you can also do it with other things in the system.
Master P said, if custom setting equals true, run the trigger.
If custom setting equals true. We're sorry, Daniel. So yeah, it's my favorite hack. I love it because you can use it to turn on and off validation rules for people if you wanted to, things like that. I know you could always check like profile name, things like that, but yeah, it's I like that.
So here's another one, and we really only got time for one more, so we'll go off of this one as the last one. But once again, I'm sorry, I do it. But in a shared development environment where people start prefixing their system.debug statements with crazy patterns so that they stand out in the log. As an example, he has system.debug, 50 asterisks, a couple of hashtags, some equal signs. Coder was here, P1. Okay, I've been there. I do it.
Do you not delete those?
I mean, I do delete them, but I can totally see what he's saying, like in a shared environment when, like previously, before we started doing everything through a repository and we were all working in the same packaging org.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. That's on top of everything else, that's probably a pretty big no-no, unless you are not an ISV and you're actually doing, I guess, essentially what you were doing before you were here, which was developing for that org itself, right? Is that what you're doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're working at a company XYZ and you're developing for company XYZ in their org internally, but still you'd want a sandbox.
Yeah, I'm guilty
Yeah.
of that one myself. Because
Yeah.
you're in there with other people's debug logs, and you don't necessarily want to turn all of theirs off or remove them because maybe they're still doing something on their end or whatever. So you're like, I want to know which ones are mine. So yeah, I usually do like a ton of equal signs or asterisks, and then boom. But that does kind of suck up debug log space too.
Yeah, I'll do that, or I used to do that. Even though I didn't run into that issue where like I'd see a bunch of other people's debug logs, it was usually pretty clean. I just want to see where my thing is without having to click debug only.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying.
But
to be
I like
fast
it
about
because
and
I like it because if you like download it inside of Maven's Mate or something, then you can just do a quick grep on it, and you're like, bam, there it is.
Yeah,
It's right here in this line of the file, and go in and dig
Yeah.
for it. But yeah, I can see that.
But you
Just
need to remove them. You know what I mean? If you the
Yes.
second you're no longer needing it,
yeah, exactly.
to his point,
When
you
you're
know, get
done,
rid of it because it really is
kill
annoying
it.
when you're looking through it and you're all like, "Man, I chose the 50 asterisk one."
Yeah.
RJ, what the
His
hell,
is
man?
49. Can't you tell the difference?
Jimmy
Yeah.
Cricket. This is so not outstanding.
Not outstanding.
It's not outstanding.
Not
outstanding at
Alright.
all.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
I don't usually fix it with any sort of asterisks, but usually I'm doing some sort of object dump or something like that. So I
Yeah.
fix it with something to let me know like what I was expecting.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Like,
like
if so
what
it'd be like,
object you were
yeah.
expecting, and maybe the variable name.
Yeah,
of
and then
it.
like colon
colon.
and then whatever it came out
Yeah.
with. So if it's null, I go, all right, well I have a serious issue now. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't this thing get assigned?
I've even done kind of a bad thing before too. In actual code, not test code, I actually put a system assert at times to find out whether or not it actually made it somewhere. Make sure you remove those.
Yeah.
Because I've done that. Because I know I want it to blow up, and I don't want to have to go through a log. So I'll go and I'll put the system assert in there or whatever, just to kind of see if my assumption is true. And like, is it failing here or is it not? And that's usually like before I'll start putting in debug statements and stuff. But yeah, if you do that, you just have to make sure that you take it out, because when somebody else is testing and it blows up with an assertion, they're like, "What? But why?" So
Yeah, this isn't necessarily a pet peeve of mine because I do it to myself. But when I'm doing, when I'm developing,
I hate me win.
Yeah, when I'm developing a node and I'm doing promises, I'll do like return new promise, resolve reject, blah blah blah, right? And the very first thing I do is anything I'm passing into that function that has a promise, I always resolve that. Like if I pass in options or whatever it is, pass in something, some Boolean that turns into an int somewhere. If I pass that in, I always resolve that thing first. And then I'm like, all right, well, now let me now that I know that I'm getting in and I'm resolving all my parameters essentially that I'm passing through. All right, now let me get into the code. And I start going and I'm going and I'm going and I'm going. Like 100 lines later, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to test this stupid thing, right?
You didn't remove the line.
And I didn't remove the resolve, and it resolves the options. And I'm like, why did I do that? This is some odd behavior. This is some extremely odd behavior. I've never seen this before. I should probably write this up. I should probably call the Node people or the Amazon people. Something's obviously wrong with their servers. Something's wrong with their EC2s that everyone else in the world is using flawlessly. And then finally I realized, oh, wow. Should not have done that.
It's not me, it's them.
Yeah, it's not me, it's them.
Please,
That's
people are
resolving
wrong.
this
I'm
thing
right.
immediately. I'm like, wow, this is fast. This is real fast. I did 400 different queries to 30 different databases that fast. Wow.
All right. Well, I feel like a third episode of this is coming on. So
well, yeah.
I feel like we might need to pick this up again.
I want to call out Stuart real quick though, because he's asking us about select star, which
Go for it.
Yes, select all.
we all know doesn't exist, but there are times, and I absolutely agree that I wish we could just, even if it was just in the dev console, for crying out loud, I just want something rather than have to type all the crap out, right?
You got to go figure it out first.
Well, it's funny because actually one of the very first things I used to do for the interns at my previous job, one of the very first tasks I would give them to learn Apex is to create their own select all function or select all method in Apex, where you
Oh,
could
so it
simply
runs
just
through.
yeah, and it would go
Oh.
out and grab all of the information using the schema.describe, because I felt it was a great way to really get into the genericness of Salesforce and
Yeah,
being
you
able
can
to
get into
create
the
more
schema
generic
stuff.
code. Yeah.
And you get into the SOCL stuff. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
So that's like the first thing I would do typically. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So his question was, is there something you do that would mess you up in so doing? And I don't know. I mean, that actually has always been above my head, because I am I was a MySQL guy, and they were always, hey, you never do select star, same, and
It's
I
just
just
because
never.
too much data comes back.
Well, it's not even that. It has to. There's like a fee that goes.
Yeah, there's like
know
a
what I'm saying?
overhead or something
Yeah.
that I never understood, when I was first up and coming. I
'Cause
never
has
do
to
it
go
now,
get
but
all of it has to
Right.
look at the schema to grab all of the columns. I'm assuming. I actually haven't looked too deeply into it. This is my assumption. It has to look at the schema, grab all the columns, and then replace your stupid star with all the column names. It's like essentially an extra query. But I mean, it should be fast. It's just
Right.
So, but is there something that you can do now that messes you up? I don't think so. It's just the standard practice is just grab the fields that you need.
messes you up. How?
I don't know. The question was just, is there something that people are doing to mimic the cell select star that could potentially mess you up? Is my guess.
Well, one of the things that you can't really, like, even in that example that I gave, is relational fields. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still can't do things like left joins, right joins. Like, there's some sort of inner joins that you can do when it comes to like the selecting of cross object data, both up and down the tree. However, even with a select all, you're never going to be able to pull that off flawlessly.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest hangups with that is custom fields. It's because of the fact that certain fields are standard and they're going to not have any underscore R or underscore C, and other fields are. And so now, because of the fact that they are lookup or referential fields, you're going to have to actually put that into your code and constantly check for that. So the amount of engineering you have to do sometimes to handle that, and we have to do that as an ISV, because when you're building out layers in our or marker layers for map anything, you can use any object and any field, custom or standard. And so as a developer, I have to be aware that a person is going to use random things like that, and they may have namespaces, or they may be using geolocation versus double fields for their latitudes and longitudes, and those are all things that you have to start taking into effect the more robust you want that select statement to be.
Depends. Yeah, exactly. Depends how ridiculously flexible your software needs to be, essentially.
So on a basic level, if you just need to do a select all on a single object with no relational fields,
loop right through them.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Get it going. Yeah, super easy.
Cool. All right. I don't see anything else. That was the last one that came in, I believe.
That's the end of it.
So our next episode is going to be on the 19th. For those of you, once again, in the Atlanta area, the 16th, the Friday before our next episode, we will be having a developer user group here at 10 Glen Lake Map Anything's offices. From
10 Glen Lake Parkway.
From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We still haven't picked an official topic that we'll be discussing, but it's going to be something fun. We have something in mind if nothing else comes up.
What do we do? I don't even remember what we did last time.
I don't remember.
What was the topic? I don't know.
Last topic was the same thing we're talking about now.
We're talking about our user group.
Sorry, the user group.
Oh, user group.
But yeah, so that'll be June 16th. And our next episode for System.Debug again will be June 19th. And remember to like and subscribe below. You can follow us all on Twitter at Life with Ryan, at the infamous RJ, at USBrian28. Do you have a Twitter?
Dun dun dun. No.
Oh no, you're the old guy.
So you can't follow him.
That's all right. That's because
you can't follow me.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, anyways.
It's because he follows. So you can't follow him. Anyway,
I'm old school.
Remember, like and subscribe.
Don't forget to follow Teddy.
Tune
Teddy
in.
Chizzy.
You can write me a letter.
Teddy Cheesy. Alex, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Very good.
We'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.